Hey everybody, Pastor David here, and I miss you guys. And I really wanted to give an update about where we are as a church and where we're going. I know a lot of people have been wondering about that, and we wanted to take this opportunity to really speak to the folks who are part of our church family. And so firstly, when everything started almost 6 months ago with COVID, all of our lives got upended, and that was very true at church as well. And we, as a church, had never before run a live worship service through a camera in a digital space. But for the first time that Sunday, we were able to have church and in a live stream in digital space, and we have been doing that now for a few months and have really learned a lot of things. We weren't set up for it, we weren't prepared for it, we weren't trained for it, but I'm really thankful to say that I think we've learned a couple things, and I think we're getting better. And I'm really excited that so many of you guys have continued to be a part of our church family and worship with us on Sunday mornings. And one of the things that people are wondering about, and we've continued to try to update you on, is when we're going to get back to church. And the answer actually continues to be we're not sure and not yet. We will return to church when we think that we can do that responsibly and safely, and when it makes sense, when we think that there will be enough people here to make it make sense. And what we also know is that when we do get back, based on some surveys that we've done with y'all, and in some early returns that we've seen from other churches that have gone back, is that there are still a lot of folks in our church family who will not be returning to worship even when we are back in our physical space. And all that leads to really the first thing that I want you to know that I think is really important for the direction of our church. It's that we are going to be committed to physical and digital ministry with excellence for the long term. In other words, when we get back, we're not going to abandon our efforts digitally. What we're going to actually do from this point forward is really invest in them. We're going to commit to them, and we are really going to continue to get better, continue to run a live stream service, continue to integrate digital elements into all of the kind of ministry that we do as a church, and really live into the new world that I think we're going into. And while that is not something that any of us chose, I will say I actually am getting pretty excited about it. I think when I step back and I look at it, I think we have a bigger opportunity to reach our mission field than I ever anticipated. We have people joining us in worship that have never been in our church before. We have people that don't even live in our community that are regularly part of our worship services. And I celebrate that, and I see opportunity in that. And I hope you do too. And so this is what I want to ask you guys just to do, is to show up for worship. Do not neglect to gather together, even if it's in the digital space. That's a word from God's word, from the book of Hebrews, and I think it's truer now. It really matters that you show up to worship, and I want to ask you to come and to comment and to participate and to enjoy it and to give us feedback and to invite your friends. That matters. It makes a difference, and it is so easy to say, hey, why don't you join me for worship? It's easier now for a new person to enter into a church community than it ever has been. And so really think about who that could be in your life and take advantage of that. And we're going to live into this digital ministry space into the future from here. I want to give you a financial update. Many of you have asked, how is our church doing financially? And obviously COVID has had a major impact on the economy, globally, nationally, in every community, in every business, every household, and also our church has been impacted. Since COVID began in March, our giving has been down an average of just about 10%. Some of that is, we know, is due to job loss. We know that it's due to changes in people's income, being furloughed, or through hourly changes. Some of it is simply due to uncertainty about the future that some of us have. And I want you also to know that we have responded to this financial impact for our church. Immediately when COVID began, we cut all non-critical expenses and regular operational expenses. We also have had some staff transition, and we have chosen not to replace those roles at this time, and we have also chosen to just redistribute some of that work. We also have responded by looking at our budget for the rest of 2020 and for July through December, reducing it by 20% overall. We think that these measures will help us get through the rest of the year. And I just want you to know that we are trying to be very good stewards and responsible and respond appropriately to the financial realities that are ahead of us. I want to also give you some good news. There are still so many people who have faithfully continued to give to our church. I want to thank you if you're one of those folks. It has made such a big difference to us. I want to assure you it continues to make a difference for the gospel and change people's lives. The greatest, deepest thanks from our church to you for continuing to support our church. I want to say we also have some of you that have moved your giving online. That has been hugely helpful. We have a few new givers since COVID began, and all of this has gone to offset some of the losses in our plate and basket offerings that happen on Sunday mornings, which obviously cannot happen anymore. Some other good news, we applied for and received a payroll protection program loan from the government, which you may be familiar with, but if not, it's a program where loans were given for payroll purposes and later on may be converted into a grant, and they don't have to be repaid. We received one of those, and this has very much helped our cash position. It's helped us navigate some of those initial hits to the budget. And it's helped us continue to pay staff and keep some hourly staff, not only for the church, but also for the Methodist Children's Program as well. And that is what the payroll protection program was designed for. Other good news, the REACH campaign that we're all very excited about is still very much on track. We have received $1.56 million to date of the $3.6 million pledge amount, and we're on track. We're even slightly ahead of where we anticipated we would be. And although there have been some delays in the projects and their progress, we are still moving forward with some things, and I'm excited that we'll have a new update about that and where things are going to go and what's happening coming out soon. I want to just ask you to continue to give. Your giving, it just matters so much. And if you have not given, I just want to say we really need you to give at this point. We continue to have expenses. We continue to do ministry. It does look different right now, but I just want to assure you it is making a difference for God's kingdom. And I want to ask you to give to your church family. It matters a lot. And I want to ask you to give online. It is the best way for us to give, and it's the easiest way for you. You go on and you can give a one-time gift, or you can set it up regularly, and it's just going to make a big difference. And so I'm going to ask you to do that, and I want to thank you again, those who give. Finally, I want to really celebrate some good things that God has done and is doing in our church. Firstly, there are some really wonderful renewed efforts at prayer. We have some people praying. We have teams of people reaching out to our congregation to ask if there's any way we can support and pray for them. I'm sure many of you guys have had those calls or those text messages, and I just want you to know we continue to be a praying church, and we are going to keep praying for each other and our community and for God to work, and I'm just really encouraged by those renewed efforts in prayer. Also, we have started a COVID relief fund that we've talked about on Sunday mornings. And I really want to celebrate that to date, we've been actually able to serve more than 30 families that have had needs. And we've been able to give out over $11,000 to those needs. And actually, I think that they're only increasing. And so I'm excited that we have some more money to give. Going to ask you to give if you have a desire to do that. And I think I want you to know we're making a real impact in some people's lives as they're experiencing some hardship. Also excited to celebrate that we have had some really creative, good wins as we've tried to transition to this digital space. Just to share one, we had taken our big in-house VBS summer effort, and we actually moved it to local kind of groups in what we call the VBS for You, where people on their own or with some friends gathered in their neighborhood at their houses in safe ways and actually did VBS together. And we got a lot of positive feedback about that. And it's the kind of creative things that we need to do to continue to do to reach our community. I'm also very excited about something that we're doing starting right now called the Screen Savers. And you may be familiar with Best Buy's concept of the Geek Squad, where if you have issues related to your computers, and in this case, your screens, which is that vehicle by which we engage people a lot right now, they come out and they help you, and they help you get that working. And what we are actually doing is putting together a team of people that would be more than happy, desiring to go to your house and help you with your digital connection. If you have issues with connecting to worship on Sunday morning, or if you want to be a part of a growth group or a Bible study or meet with your Sunday school class, we really want to help you do that and make sure you have what you need. And so they'll go to your house, help you do a little assessment on what's next, have a conversation with you, and get you the help that you need to connect, even if it's just to see your family on Skype. That matters so much right now, and the Screen Savers are going to help you do that. Y'all, I just want to thank you for continuing to be a part of this church. I want to ask if there's anything you've heard or seen on Sunday morning, say, I could do that better. I want to be a part of this. There are places to volunteer. We need people to help host worship on Sunday mornings, to help do some connecting and some follow-up. And if God's moving you, if you've got a little itch to do something, please reach out to us, to any person on our staff, and we're going to get you connected to some ways that you can make a difference. You are making a difference, First Methodist and Redeemer, and I continue to be honored to lead this church with our whole team, and I'm just so excited for what God has for us in the future.